Thank you so much for being on this session tonight. My name is Mike Friedman. I'm the Vice President for Undergraduate Enrollment at Marketing at Niagara University. And let me be among the first to congratulate you and your families on admission to NU. For those of you who have already confirmed attendance for the fall, welcome to the family. For those of you who haven't, we're happy to answer any last minute questions and concerns as we near what is known as National College Decision Day this Sunday, May 1st. Always have to include the caveat with that. We encourage you to make your decisions by May 1st, but we are rolling admissions at Niagara University. So if you would like an extension, we welcome you to get a hold of your student's admissions counselor, and we can make those accommodations. So as I said, we're delighted to be with you tonight. Just a quick housekeeping item, and it looks like we're already there, but I would just ask that if you are not speaking, to have your microphones muted so that we eliminate background noise. We are going to have plenty of time for your questions. So that is the main reason that we're here tonight. We do have some members of the Niagara University community on with us tonight to help answer those questions. And so at this point, I will ask them to begin introducing themselves and get us underway. And we'll start with Stephanie Buchkowski, please.
Thanks, Mike. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the session this evening. I'm very glad you could join us. My name is Stephanie Buchkowski, Director of Admissions here at Niagara. I already recognize some names coming in to the waiting room, which is great. So you'll get a lot of great information today. We're also going to be recording it, of course, and I'll be kind of manning the chat box. So please, we'll welcome questions and then we'll answer them at the end. And then we'll kind of just go from there. So then I'll turn it over to Katie.
Hello, everybody. My name is Katie Costas. I'm the Director of Financial Aid here at Niagara. I'm sure I've talked to many of you at previous events. I will be going over some next steps for financial aid. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat and we'll answer them as we go.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Chris Sheffield. I serve as Vice President for Student Affairs. The Student Affairs area at Niagara is really focused on student success outside the classroom that helps support student academic success. And so I'll be speaking this evening about some of the ways that we provide support, care, and connection for our students. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, folks. And I will add that Kim Fenton, our Director of Residence Life, will be joining us in just a couple of minutes. As you can certainly tell, we have representatives on tonight ready to answer questions on admissions, financial aid, student affairs, which includes many different aspects of the campus community life, including summer orientation. So, all questions are certainly welcome. We are offering Q&A sessions with our academic deans and departments. So you and your students should have received some email communication over the last 24 to 48 hours, and that will be ongoing, that if you have anything that you would like to pose directly to the leaders in our academic sectors, we're offering those opportunities to set up and make appointments. You are always welcome to just pick up the phone and call or email them and us as well, obviously, but we certainly want to give you all of the opportunities to engage with leadership and with members of our community while you're making this decision and as we're getting ready and excited for the fall semester. So with all of that being said, I am going to let Stephanie take it from here.
Okay, great. Thanks again, Mike. So I'm just mine's kind of short and sweet. I'm just gonna go over, many of you probably recognize Katie and I, like you said, from being on some of the other events and the financial aid events with you. So we recognize some names. So I'm gonna just touch on some things I think are important for you to know and in terms of dates and the other events that are coming up. But I would like to make it more kind of spotlight on some of those that you maybe haven't heard from recently about Niagara. So I am gonna share my screen here, so hopefully everyone can see it. You would have received this if you came for a visit. We put this dates to remember sheet Can I get a thumbs up? I can see you, Chris. Can you give me a thumbs up? Okay, thanks. This is a dates to remember sheet, which what it means, obviously, of all the important things that you need to know that's coming up in a timeline for you. We did put these in a lot of the event bags that you received and also in your set packets, things like that. But just to kind of go over this briefly so you have an idea. And if you want to take a picture of it with your phone or something, I recommend doing that. So obviously it discusses the May 1st deadline. And as Mike said already, it's certainly we'd like you to deposit by May 1st, of course, because not only, like if you know if Niagara is where you want to be, I just recommend, just doing it, not waiting, because it just kind of moves the timeline up for you with everything else. You can then register for summer orientation and things like that. However, please know that we offer extensions in 10-day increments. So if you're still making a decision or waiting on something from financial aid or whatever the case may be, please just let us know. We're happy to do that for you and keep that list going. It's no problem whatsoever. Summer orientation dates, which is if you have submitted your deposit, then that's your next step. If you haven't done that already, those are the 3 dates you can see listed there. The first 2 dates are overnights. The third day is just a 1-day event. So it's up to you. I recommend, even if you're going to be a commuter, I think you should still do the overnight session. I think it's just a great experience all the way around. Students really love it. And a lot decide to end up living on campus after they experience that. So it's even a better thing too. Health forms are listed there as well. Obviously, we'll need your official high school transcripts sent to us post-graduation eventually. It is very important to make sure that you send that to us, because if we don't get it eventually, then we won't be able to register for classes the next semester. So that's something that would be very important for you to send along to us and getting that. Also, if you have any transcripts if you're taking a community college course, you will need the official transcript from that college and have that sent to us as well. So if you're able to do that, that'd be great. Move-in day and orientation starts Friday, August 26th. The first day of classes is August 29th. So helpful to know for families, especially for like vacations and things like that. And we have Kim, Director of Residence Life, is now joining us too. So she's in the room. So those are some important dates for you. I'll leave that up just while I go through a couple others for you to kind of take note of. I'll also add these in the chat box if you guys want to go back, but also you're getting push emails for all this kind of stuff as well. But please know that coming up on May 5th, if you haven't heard already, we are hosting a Cinco de Mayo themed Accepted Student Day, which is going to take place at 4 p.m. And we're also offering a discounted rate for the deposit on the spot. So if you do decide to attend, we have a good number signed up already. I think it's going to be, we've hosted Accepted Student Day before. This is just going to be very different, a little more informal. And just fun. I think it's a good opportunity to really kind of get a nice fun vibe at campus for sure. So if you're able to attend that, like I said, we can do the deposit deadline or the deposit rate there as well, which is good. Also too, most importantly, it's great for parents, but even more so for incoming students. So please pass this along if your children or child aren't with you today. We're doing a new student series, their webinars. And basically what it is it's an opportunity for us to go through with you all the different portals and how to walk you through that. So there'll be one on May 18th at 7 o'clock and then June 28th at 7 o'clock. So those will be very important, learning the whole ropes of that. But I'll put those dates in there too. So I don't expect you to remember all of this now as we're saying it, but I just want to kind of put it on your radar for sure. Other than that, I think in terms of things coming up, that's really about it that I have for me. Just, if you have any questions, you guys, I'm sure are very familiar with who your admissions counselor is by now. So please reach out to them, reach out to me, whatever you may need. I'll put the contact information in there. And that's about it for this end. So I don't know. I know Kim Fenton is here now, so she might want to introduce herself.
Oh, sure. Hello, everybody. Well, welcome. Thanks for spending some time with us. We're happy to answer all your questions and just make sure that you all feel comfortable at this stage and that you know what's coming and you know what to expect. My name is Kim Fenton. I'm the Director of Residence Life and the Assistant Dean of Students. So I know that there's, we're hearing a lot of buzz on our end from your students about questions that they have about the housing forums and all that. So I'll be happy to cover all that with you in just a bit. Thanks.
Great, Kim. Thank you. And then I think in terms of the agenda, we're having Katie, if you want to kind of take things over.
Yes, there was actually a question
okay.
about what happens in the event of not being able to make the orientation dates.
Sure. I'm
Chris,
happy
wanna take
to,
that?
yeah, happy to speak to that. So certainly we encourage students and families to attend summer orientation. It's really a good opportunity to learn more in depth about what to expect from the university experience and really begin the transition to college life. For students, you have opportunity to begin to meet other students and make those connections, but it is certainly not the end of the world if you're unable to attend because summer orientation is really the first in a two-part orientation series. We have new student orientation in August in the days just before the semester begins. So there still is opportunity for students to connect and engage. And because we do pre-registration of students for their courses in conjunction with summer orientation, students are still able to get registered for courses even if they don't attend in person. We also are looking this year to provide a lot of our materials online. So if there are families, and in some cases we have families and students who are from outside the country or outside the area and find it challenging to travel. So we're going to try to make our materials and information as accessible as possible. So while we'll certainly miss you, you'll have access to the information and not miss a beat in keeping things on track for your student.
Okay, great, Chris. Thank you so much. So I think I think we'll hold the questions to the end so that everyone can kind of have their time to speak a little bit about their departments and their areas. And we'll kind of go through from the beginning at that point. So now I'd like to, Katie, do you want to kind of go ahead now?
Sure. Hello again, everybody. Again, my name is Katie Costas. I just want to go over a few of the main things that you should be doing over the next, couple weeks. First off, definitely review the financial aid offer that was sent to you. Hopefully by now you've completed the FAFSA form if you're a U.S. citizen and we've mailed it out to you. So you want to take a look at that. You can review everything, any updates on your self-service portal. You can access that through the web advisor section. So feel free, you will need your Purple Pass credentials to log into that. So make sure you've created those if you haven't done so already. But definitely go through and take a look at all the aid that is being offered. That in that portal, you'll be able to accept or reject your loans if you decide to take those out or if you decide not to take those out. So go through all that, see what the final balance or the final breakdown would be. Contact my office if you have any questions on that. We'd be happy to set up an appointment to go over if you have any questions about your financial aid offer. But that's really a big thing to do to make sure what your estimated balance will be for the upcoming year. The next thing I wanted to mention is the level tuition plan. If you are a freshman student coming in for fall of 22, you have the option to sign up for the level tuition plan or LTP. And what that does is it locks your tuition rate in for the 4 consecutive years. So it is $500 more than what regular tuition is for this first year, but then that amount stays the same for your sophomore through senior years. Last year, students were projected to save about $4,500 over that time period, the 4 years. So it's definitely helpful in being able to plan and budget for your undergraduate studies. As long as you're a deposited student, you do have to be deposited in order to have access to this. But as soon as you're deposited, you can go into your admissions welcome portal, and it's right on the left-hand side. It'll say level tuition plan contract, and you can go ahead and sign up there. Just a note on that, if you are younger than 18, so 17 or younger, you do have to have a parent sign off on that form. So you would sign up electronically, but you'll have to print off a paper copy and have a parent sign it and send that in to us. And we will, if you forget to do that, don't worry, we follow up with you. If it's been like a week and we haven't received it yet, so we will follow up. But just know that it's something you have to do if you're younger than 18. And the last thing I want to touch upon, again, any questions we can definitely answer at the end that you might still have. But the other thing is if you're a deposited student starting probably the second week or so in May, my office will start sending out emails to students reminding them about things that still need to be completed. So whether they still need to create their mobile financial aid account, whether they need to submit documentations for verification or complete loan counseling requirements for the loans. So whatever it might be, we're going to start those in May, which is a little bit earlier than we used to, but hopefully that'll help students be prepared for having everything all set when they start school in August. That's it for me.
Okay, great. Thank you, Katie. Kim, did you want to go ahead? Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So I know that one of the things that gets a little bit kind of confusing, I guess, over the summer is that we have a lot of dates in our office. So I just wanted to review some of those and just kind of get you on the same page, because I know that a lot of your students are, like I said, they have a lot of questions for us right now. So the housing preference form, or the housing application, is coming out this weekend. So they are very excited. They have been trying to fill this thing out since like February. So it's coming out this weekend. We're very excited. It's all ready. We're just kind of getting ready to send the email to the students, so they'll be able to fill that out this weekend. So it's through an online portal system that they're going to use for their whole 4 years here at Niagara for all of their housing needs that they're going to have. Their dining plans as well, they're going to choose through that. So they're going to get really comfortable with that system. And it's the same Purple Pass that they use. So we're going to send them all kinds of information this weekend. There's screenshots about how to fill it out, how to log in, how to do all that. There's like video tutorials. So we've got all that stuff there for them. And they're going to get an email this weekend. It's going to go to their NU emails only. So we're not sending anything to their Gmails, their Yahoo accounts. It's only to their NU emails. So they got to get in the habit of checking that, put it on their phones right now. It's going to be they'll make use out of it for sure. And then we'll continue to communicate with them through their NU emails. So we're going to get them all kinds of just information that they want to know already, like they're thinking already about what to bring and, what do the residence hall rooms look like? So that first email is going out to them. And again, that's for once they've deposited, and then it takes a couple of days to kind of work through the system. So for deposited students only, they'll get that email. So the housing preference form, so it starts on May 1st. And it is due on June 1st. So we give them that whole month. Now we know that May is a really busy month for them. They're wrapping things up with their high school, careers and all that. And they've got all their award ceremonies and they've got sporting events and all that stuff. It shouldn't take them too long to fill this out. It's probably about 20 minutes or so. Now the housing contract is in there. So again, like Katie said, if they're under 18, we're going to give them a PDF copy that they can print out, and you can either bring that back with you to orientation, or you can mail it into our office. Either way works. But again, we'll follow up if we haven't received that, or we'll have copies at orientation that you can just sign as well. We'll have a stack of those.
Sorry, could you say that again? Sorry, I'm having trouble hearing you.
Oh, sorry, it's my watch. Sorry, I clicked that. And then take that off so we don't have to worry about that. And then, so on the preference form outside of the contract will be all the preference ways that we're going to make some roommate matches. So what I'm going to ask, I say this all the time, and it's on that website especially, is please, please, please let your student fill that out themselves. That's really, really important. We get phone calls every single day, and it's 10 in the morning while the kids are at school, and mom's on the phone saying, I'm trying to fill this out, but I can't get this. And I said, well, how about this? How about you have, your son or daughter give me a call 4 o'clock when they get out of school, and I'll walk them through it. But it's really important because there are some questions in there where, we're asking about cleanliness, and, sometimes it's really obvious. You can tell that mom thinks, oh yes, he's going to pick up his socks every single day. He's going to do laundry every week. It's going to be, maybe not sometimes. So, we want them to do as much laundry as possible too. However, we just want that to be a really true representation of how the students themselves feel and what that's going to be, because we want to make those best matches as possible. Also part of that process is there will be some students who want to pick their own roommates. Maybe they know someone that they want to live with, maybe they don't. So it's about usually over 70% of our freshman class each year coming in does not know someone, and they get paired with roommate through our process. The ones who don't, who choose someone that they know ahead of time, I'll tell you this. So a lot of our upperclassmen students, they say that their advice is don't live with a friend from high school. And they give that advice for a couple of reasons. So one of the reasons that they say that is sometimes it can kind of limit you a little bit. So like if you're hanging out with the same person that you hung out with in high school, you might not be branching out. You might not be making new friends and things like that when you come to NU. And that's really part of the experience as well. Sometimes it also, what our students say is, when you live with your best friend, sometimes it's just too much time to spend with one person. And so they are like, it was nice to have a roommate who wasn't the same person that I took all my classes with, who I spent all my social time with, and they were just like someone new that I wasn't already sick of talking with, that I wasn't, hanging out with 24 hours a day as it was. So that is the advice that a lot of upperclassmen say is don't live with your best friend from high school, things like that. We also find that a lot of times students who maybe talk on social media about, hey, do you want to live together? Sometimes they're making some decisions on that about just kind of, hey, you kind of look like me. Let's, we're probably into the same things. Let's be roommates. They might not be thinking about the kinds of things that it's really hard to kind of compromise on in a roommate relationship, right? So like if one person goes to bed at midnight, the other person goes to bed at 9, it's hard to really have a good schedule in your own room when you have to compromise around those things. So we're thinking of those things. Sometimes students aren't doing that. So at least if your son or daughter is finding their own roommate, just encourage them to ask about those things. And they'll see those questions that we're asking on the form. So have them ask about that with their potential roommates if they're going to find someone on their own. But it is through that same portal, and we send them instructions for that too. They can select their own roommate. They have to be mutual matches, but we can do that. Our students are in double rooms. We are not anticipating needing to put students into triples as a matter of assignment. However, if you've got a group of 3 and they all know each other, and like this happens a lot, like with sports teams, they just want to live together. That's cool. We can accommodate that. We do have some triples in Seton Hall. So that'll all start happening really in the month of May. They're due June 1st. Then we in our office, we're going to take the month of June to, we kind of hunker down. We look through all these applications, and this is where it gets exciting for us. We really consider these applications as we go through. We look through each match. We see how things feel. We want to make sure that things look good. We didn't miss anything. Like this is, we didn't accidentally put together 2 people who, both came from the same high school accidentally, things like that. And then we'll actually send those matches back out, and as well as room assignments. Those will go back out to their NU student email before the end of June. So by July 1st, students will have those assignments for next year, as well as contact information for their roommates and their inboxes. Then we'll see you at orientation. You'll get to be in the buildings. If you do the 2-day overnight, you'll get to spend the night in the building. You'll get to, people are coming in with like measuring tapes and, trying to figure things out. They're raising and lowering the beds to see how big can my fridge be if I want to put it here, which is all good. We welcome that. Come on in. And then we'll send you a lot of information over the summer about move-in day, which is going to be August 26th this year. It's a Friday, and we have activities planned all weekend for your students. So there's a lot of dates this summer to know, but we will keep students posted every step of the way, as long as they're checking their email. So if they put that on their phone and they set their notifications up, they won't miss a beat. So we'll keep them posted, and we'll get them all the information that they need to know. And then if you have any questions, I'll keep going, and then I'll start responding to questions in the chat too as we move on.
Oh, great. Okay, thanks, Kim. I appreciate it. That was great information. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thanks. Absolutely.
Chris, did you want to go ahead?
Sure, absolutely. I know I want to leave plenty of time for folks' questions, and so I'll just highlight a few areas in student affairs. So student affairs, as I mentioned, is really focused on student co-curricular success. So that's success outside the classroom that helps support academic success. And we do that through a range of different programs and services, including Residence Life. And you've heard from the fantastic leader of our team, Kim Fenton. We do that through campus activities, the clubs, organizations, events, and activities that engage students in the life and community of the campus. And we're very excited now that we're moving out of this COVID pandemic phase, that life in traditional form has returned to campus. We've got a full slate of activities going on this week and through the weekend for our traditional Ridge Fest event. And that's just one example of many opportunities for student connection and engagement on campus. We also, in student affairs, have our holistic wellness initiative. This is a combination of health services, counseling services, and recreation and intramural sports and club sports. And through these combined activities, we support student wellness. Our full service health clinic on campus is much like a combination of your student's general practitioner and an urgent care facility with diagnostic capabilities. We're staffed by 2 full-time nurse practitioners, 3 RNs, and we're continuing something we started during the pandemic, and that's having an RN on call for evening and weekend medical or health concerns that may arise. So students can reach out and make contact with a health provider 24/7 for anything that may come up. In counseling services, we've been able to expand the resources for our licensed mental health counselors that provide mental health care and support for our students. We know that for probably all of us, the pandemic has highlighted the need for good mental well-being. And so students dealing with issues of stress or anxiety, transition, and some of the challenges in that transition to college life can find support and care in that facility. And in addition to in-person counseling, we now offer virtual telehealth visits, and we've introduced an online self-help platform called Tau Connect that allows students the opportunity on their own time and at their own pace to work through different modules that focus on student health and wellness. And then certainly for physical well-being, we're going to be introducing in August a newly renovated and additionally constructed $11.5 million recreational facility on campus, our Kiernan Center, that will really take to the next level our physical fitness facilities, aerobic facilities, and the whole slate of programs to support student fitness and wellness. And really, the combination of those three areas are our holistic student wellness model. I also want to mention summer orientation because we do have a unique model at Niagara University with this SUMO program in July. In these three sessions, we offer opportunities for both students and families to come to our campus. We have separate distinct tracks that families will follow and students will follow that have different content. For families, you learn a lot about the operational side of the university. What do you need to know about financial aid and student finances? How do we support student academic success? What are those resources that are available? As well as some of the social success offerings that I've mentioned previously. And families get an opportunity to meet the administrators who will help support your students throughout their Niagara career and make those connections. And you also meet other families. And there really are some lifelong connections that are formed there because you have a built-in support network as part of the Niagara family. And in summer orientation for our students, we spend a lot of time having them get to know one another, make those introductions. In many cases, some of the roommate matching that Kim mentioned actually happens very organically during summer orientation. Students meet other students, decide they want to room together. And so although they would have been paired with someone, there's opportunity for them to decide on a roommate based on someone they met during summer orientation. And for our students, it's an introduction to college transition. What do you need to know about the differences between the high school experience and the college experience, both in the classroom and outside the classroom? What are the ways that students can get connected and engaged in the life of the campus community? It's a lot of fun, a lot of information. It's a very intense day-and-a-half program for the first two sessions and an intense one-day program for the one-day session. And as Stephanie mentioned, we always encourage folks, particularly those who are planning to live in residence or considering living in residence, to come for the two-day session so the students can experience the overnight program on campus. We do late night social programming for the students and really get them having fun and experience our residential offerings on campus. So just a brief overview of some of the ways that we support student success outside the classroom. We'll look forward to answering any questions you may have.
Great. Thank you, Chris, so much. Great information. We have some questions here. I think some are being answered as we're going though, right? We had a question about where to send high school transcripts, so if anyone didn't see in the chat box, if you are sending transcripts, either the high school or any ones from a community college, it's right to the admissions office. So it's directly to us. Accessing the NU email. So what it is, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, everyone, but I believe it's the student number to start, right, with the lowercase s and then at mail.niagara.edu. Yeah, so what it is on your accept letter, there's a number in the top corner that's the student ID. which you kind of will see on almost everything at this point, and it starts with a lowercase s, and you always make sure you include that on there. And that will be the start to your NU email. So you do that, and it's that number at mail.niagara.edu. That's where you can find that. Kim, here's a question, or unless did you answer it? What is the success rate on the matching of roommates?
Sometimes that's hard to say. I was thinking about that too. It's sometimes hard to say because there's a lot of different kind of outcomes, right? In terms of what happens at the end of the fall semester. Sometimes people might, there was nothing wrong with the roommate, just I met someone else and their roommate moved out. And now I just really like, that's my best friend. And so I want to live with that person. So it's really hard to say that people broke up because of they split up because of a conflict. Sometimes it's just, we let students move. If a friend has an opening, we let them move. And sometimes it's just because of, convenience or things like that. So it's really hard to say exactly like what the success rate is, but we do tend to watch in general when students do split up, and I go back and I look to see, did they request each other? Were they matched from us? And the students who match themselves aren't faring any better, I would say, than students who are matched through the process. So but there's a percentage rate on it, I would say, it's hard to kind of put a number on it, but I would say probably about 20 to 30% of students are changing rooms throughout the course of the year for a whole variety of reasons. A lot of times it's just like, hey, there's a room down the hall. Can I have my own room? Like, that's just great. I've got a lot of stuff. So it's hard to say, to attribute it to like, oh, we're not getting along, or yeah, my friend, like, we're just friends. We want to try living together before we move in together next year, just to make sure we're a good fit. So it's really hard to put a number on it, but I would say about it depends on the year, between 20 to 30% of students, I would say, are going to change rooms at some point during the semester. But we do accommodate room changes every time that they come up. As long as we've got space for a student, we'll make a room change. And sometimes even when we don't have space for a student, we'll still figure it out and make a room change happen. But we do help students with when trouble happens. We've got our staff trained to be able to address those things. And then if it just doesn't work out, sometimes it just doesn't, and we can always handle those things when they come up.
Actually, yeah, Cream, I was going to ask that question. If when that comes up, is it you try to kind of mediate first a little bit and try and fix things, and then see if it's if it's not, then you move on, right?
Yeah, and that is the goal, and we talk about that a little more at summer orientation. So we have a roommate session during orientation in the fall for all students, and we tell them, look, like, you communicate with us, let us know when you're starting to feel like, I don't know how this is going to go. And there's community advisors on every floor, which is, you might have heard RAs in other campuses. Here we call them community advisors. So they're on every floor in the residence halls. There's 2 on first year floors. And they're upperclassmen, and they go through about 2 weeks of training at the beginning of the year. They do ongoing training every month. They have supervision from professional staff members. So we try our best. We tell students, like, look, let us know early if something's happening. We want to help to work with you. We want to do these mediations. We want this to be a learning experience, right? Like, we want to know how to handle these conflicts. We want to learn from each other. And so we work through a lot of those as they come up. But sure, there are some where, your students will come in and it's, oh my God, I'm going to rip my hair out in the next 5 minutes if you don't move my room. And hey, like, that's a learning opportunity as well. And they're still our students, they're still our people, they're part of our community, and we'll help them too. But we'll hopefully help them with, the next time, can you tell us a month earlier, kind of a thing. And we have very few students where that ever happens again. So they learn one way or another.
So I'm not sure. I'm going through this, and I some are answered a little further down, so I'm not sure if these were hit or not. But my daughter met someone on the NU Instagram page, and they think they want to live together. Can they both fill out the roommate form? And yes, right. As long as they both put each other down, they'll be guaranteed put together. So yes.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And everybody fills out their preferences either way, just in case, like, say that person decides halfway through the fall semester they want to commute, and then we've got your preferences in case, say, you're going to live with somebody different in the spring semester, things like that. So everybody fills it out. but it's good to like just for them to have a discussion about it. So they fill it out early, they can see what the questions are. And then they've got until, June until they have to request each other. So see what the questions are, have a discussion about it, and they're going to know whether they're going to be a good fit based on their discussion about those questions. But we're asking about things like cleanliness, we're asking about schedules, the things that you don't really want to compromise around. We're also asking about things like, what are your views on privacy? How do you want to use the room? How are you doing with guests? Like, do you want this to be like the kind of social hub of the floor, or do you really think this is kind of more like your own private space? So we're considering all those things. And those are the things that people can be opposites over, and you don't necessarily need to compromise on your bedtime or what time you wake up in the morning. So.
I believe you answered too about living on or off campus, and they still participate in move-in day activities, right? Yes.
Yep.
We said yes.
New
Okay.
student orientation, as Chris referenced. Yeah.
So even if they're answered, just for everyone else's sake, I want to make sure that everyone hears the questions in case they also have this in their mind. Students should join the freshman Facebook group. My daughter's already met people. Great. Yep. It's a good place for sure. Thank you. How do the bathrooms work? Did we get that? How do bathrooms work with the doubles? Is there a bathroom in each room or different arrangements?
Mm-hmm. So our first year buildings are corridor style. So they're double rooms, and again, Seton's got a few triples that are again by request only. We're hoping that's going to be easy for us to accommodate again this year. So it's corridor style rooms, and then the bathrooms are community style bathrooms in the middle, but they're large bathrooms. Everything's got locking stall doors on it. We just did a renovation in O'Shea with those bathrooms as well. So lots of sinks, lots of toilets, lots of showers. So there's lots of space. And then there's one bathroom on one side of the hall, one on the other. So the halls are kind of like figure 8. And then one side of the 8 has a bathroom and the other side does as well.
So Robert asked, do you have to stay overnight for orientation, or can you just commute? Oh, I think I just lost my spot. We did mention before, if it wasn't answered, that yeah. So the first 2 dates that are offered are overnights, and then there's just the day event on July 18th. So if you choose that you don't want to spend the night, that's fine. You can just attend the one day if you feel more comfortable. So yeah, they have that option for July 18th.
I would mention also, Stephanie, that if one of the 2 earlier dates works better for some reason, and you don't want to do the overnight, that's okay too. You can register for any of the 3 sessions. And while we encourage the overnight, it wouldn't be required, right? So if you're a commuter and the 3rd session doesn't work for you from a date perspective, one of the first 2 are fine.
That's great to know. Thank you. Did not realize that. Thank you.
But they will have a ton of fun on those overnights.
Yes,
there's
so true. No.
There's bingo. There's like college students love bingo. Who knew? But there's prizes. There's like a dance party that's going to like 2 a.m. They really do have a good time. And it's just a good opportunity to try it out, and even if you wanted to stay for bingo and then go home, that's cool too. And there's they're out on the turf field, and there's all kinds of activities, because we know that's a stressful night for them, that they're like, okay, I don't really know anybody. I want to make sure that I don't feel left out. So there's a team of orientation leaders who are doing their best to make sure that everybody's got a group to hang out with, and we want them to have a good time. So it's a fun night.
Kim, you beat me to it. I was actually just going to say, if anyone has students who are thinking that they may not want to go to summer orientation, or were like me when I was 18 and think that they're too cool to go to summer orientation, I'm going to track down a photo album from one of our recent summer orientations, and you will see so many smiling faces. They love it. I mean, they really do. It's a fantastic environment to be around, even as someone who has plenty of gray hair, just to be there and see the enthusiasm and the energy. So I'll join the chorus in wholeheartedly encouraging families to get involved with Summer O.
Are freshmen allowed to have a car on campus? Yes, they are. You are allowed, and reasonable charge too. For these, only like $90, I believe, for the parking permit for the year, so it's very reasonable as well. Am I missing? Let me see. looking to see if I missed anything. I think I'm at the bottom.
I think the only one we missed is the one about the hotels.
Oh, right. That wasn't say that. Yes. There is, I started writing it in here too. There is a, I'll try and seek it out, or unless, oh, nice. There's, on the webpage, there's actually an area that says local accommodations, and it has all the area hotels there. So yes, so we do have that on the webpage. And literally, if you just type in the search bar, unless we were able to pull it up now, you just put in local accommodations and it'll come up in the area, local, closer to Lewiston area, and then also even further out to wherever you may would like to stay. So yeah, definitely. Another thing too, I kind of want to mention, which please, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I've heard this right. I hope so, because Katie's heard me say it a couple times already. But I believe, so what happens is when you're signed up for some orientation, your orientation leaders will contact you personally to let you know what group you're in. And you'll have a group number. And then I believe that you're part of that same group number then when you actually come to new student orientation as well. So you kind of have the same group with you, right? Is that right, Chris? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I think that's really nice. So knowing that you had to kind of have that foundation, the students you're with in July, and then when you come move in, they're there with you again. So you kind of have that connection still going. So it's nice to know that as well for some orientation. Do I have any other questions? I know Wendy had raised her hand very early in the beginning. I don't know if you typed a question in the chat box or if you still had a question.
Your hand to say that she could see the screen you were sharing.
Oh, got it. Thank you. Okay, thank you for that. Any other questions anyone can think of?
Well, there was one more came in. When and how do students get assigned their counselors so they can chat about programs and classes?
Well, so they get pre-registered for, what happens is the students will be able to register for classes, not register technically, but you're able to log into the portal and pick what are called freshman-friendly classes. That is a preliminary schedule that you will have, and it'll be ready for you. So like Chris had mentioned, I believe that they're registered ahead of time, but then most certainly you're able to talk with your academic advisor to do any changes. Chris, correct me if I'm wrong. Is that right though, right? And then they need anything changed?
That's right. And so you're pre-registered for all but 2 courses. Students select 2 elective courses, and they indicate that during the portal sign-up process. And so that's how pre-registration occurs. But again, during the summer orientation session, there's time with each academic department and college. And so there's opportunity to talk to faculty one-on-one as necessary about schedules, if any shifts are necessary in the schedule. But we do pre-register students, but students do choose 2 of the elective courses.
Thank you. What do we need to bring to the overnight session? Yeah.
So I would say for your overnight, bring, your overnight bag, whatever toiletries or things like that. Shower shoes, those are always just a dorm staple, and a towel, things like that.
Fan.
Yeah, bring a little fan. You're not going to regret that, especially if it's, really warm in July. You won't regret that.
Mm-hmm.
And then some students bring a sleeping bag. I'm always like, but sleeping bag is just a hot thing. So, but it is nice that you kind of roll it all into one. So, and then you're going to want to bring just like some bedding. So blanket, maybe a sheet set, and then a pillow, and that'll get you by. But before you come to orientation, your orientation leaders are going to send that out to you. They're going to send you a list of what to pack. So don't worry about it. They'll get all that stuff sent out to you as well. So just whatever you need to spend the night in an empty residence hall room as you get ready to come. One other thing that I should have mentioned earlier, there's a big, I don't want to say debate, but there's a big thing about the bed size on campus. So they truly are standard twin beds. However, everybody's like, but wait a minute, like, what about twin extra long? So most of our students, though, even though the beds themselves are standard twin, do bring extra long sheets, and they both work absolutely fine. Now, the reason why extra long sheets work is because most students are bringing a mattress pad. So it's got they've got like 2 inches of foam on the top of their mattress. So just having that extra mattress pad on top makes the extra long sheets fit. So what I'm here to tell you is you don't need to buy like any special sheet set. If you've already got a twin set at home, you're going to be totally fine. If you're buying new sheets anyway, if they don't have a twin bed at home and you have to buy new sheets anyway, and you want to get the extra long, it'll be okay. But right now, like at Target, at least like the twin, there's no difference between twin and twin extra long. Like the sheets just say like T/TXL. So don't fret too much. But I've had like parents come in and be like, I've returned the sheets 3 times. Like, nope, just don't overthink it. They will fit either way. So don't worry too much about those. Okay,
Yeah,
is
we get that
there?
question all the time though about the sheets, always. It's always, yeah, always, but the extra long.
People get very worried about it. But most students don't even know that it's actually a regular twin mattress because they brought an extra long sheet set and it fits just fine. So don't worry about it. It'll work. Okay, can they request to be with certain people at the same orientation group?
I think it's happened before. I believe we have done that.
Yeah, so there's a couple things, right? So first, if families, if it's, let's say you know another family who's going to be attending and want to be in the same orientation session, you simply need to sign up independently, but for the same one of the same 3 orientation sessions. And then throughout the day, as you're moving through different parts of the program, you can travel together with individuals of your choosing. That's not a problem at all. And from the student side, students can also, if they know someone from high school, for example, who they're friends with and they're attending orientation, they can connect with that individual as well. And they can even choose to room with someone if they're staying for the overnight with an individual of their choosing. And so that can all be arranged through the portal SUMO registration process.
I've gotten that question a lot about students wanting to stay together during the orientation. Yeah.
So in our, is there central AC or heater for cold days? So absolutely, we have heat. Like we are in Western New York. It gets real cold in the winter. We have heat. We do not in our regular traditional style residence halls. We do not have central air. Most of the time when our students are here, we don't need it because it's, like today it's almost May, but it was like 40 degrees out. However, in our student apartments, we do have central air. So that's kind of one of those things where the students are, building up to, they become juniors, seniors, they've got central air. So there's the one day a year usually where students are really bummed out about it. And it is some orientation, unfortunately, but bring a fan and we've got, we're outside most of the night and it's all good. And if there's a company that has all the necessities shipped to the residence hall, since we're from the West Coast, we do have a company that we partner with that does like sheets and that kind of stuff. Other than that, we do a lot of, students will have Amazon packages shipped with like toiletries and stuff like that, if that's easier. And then we'll send at orientation, we'll have information for like the sheets and all that.
When are they able to schedule classes? Do we wait until orientation to do the full schedule, or can we do it sooner or talk to the counselor? Well, like as was referred to earlier, the students are able to pick all but 2, right, classes you said. And then you will then be able to have the opportunity to speak with someone at orientation about what your classes are. However, I will say that, if you want to speak to somebody in your department, whatever department major you're accepted into, just to maybe kind of get an idea of what your classes may be. We're happy to do that. We can get you to somebody in the department if you would like, just to kind of have an idea. We've certainly done that before.
And during the portal registration process, students fill out information about any credits they're transferring in, as well as information about their, certainly their academic major, as well as their interests. And so that helps as we pre-populate the schedules for the fall semester. But any adjustments that need to be made to that can be discussed during summer orientation, during new student orientation. So there's plenty of time and opportunity to talk to academic advisors and the faculty about the schedule leading up to the beginning of the fall semester.
And that helps answer the other question too that's there about the courses. Are parking permits available for purchase at some orientation session? Yes.
They are. And I just verified it is $90 for the full academic year. for resident students for parking registration. And registrations can be completed during summer orientation and during new student orientation in August. And students actually receive their parking decal during new student orientation in August. So if they register at SUMO, we'll hold off until they come for new student orientation. And that's when all of the decals are available.
And it's also where they can get their student ID, correct? They can also upload a photo ahead of time too in their portal.
Yes, yeah. During the portal process, we have students who can choose to upload a photo, and there's certain specifications we ask for so that there's some consistency around the photos. And so they upload those in the process, and those are also received during new student orientation.
You say something, Kim?
No, good.
Oh, it looked like, okay.
Yeah, a move-in day or commuters will get theirs at commuter orientation too.
Great. I don't think I missed anything. I think we answered everything. And can you guys think of anything else you want to add last minute on our end? I mean, can't think of anything right now. Oh, we have a message. How much does the parking cost for commuter? It's the same, right? It's
Slightly different. It's like
Oh,
it's
there is.
another difference, I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna grab that real quick.
I'll get it for you. Well, I know. So Mike, I believe you put a link in to register for the May 5th event, right? In the chat box?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So you are welcome to register there. But I'm sure, you're getting obviously lots of emails too, where you're able to, to register for any of those events. As just a quick click and you can go ahead and do that. But for anyone, I'm gonna assume that most have visited for sure, but if you haven't, I mean, please come back. If you want to come back again, I highly recommend that the May 5th event. I think it'll be great. We also have Saturday appointments coming up. Some are full for this weekend, but we're offering appointment slots for this Saturday, the 7th and the 14th. So if you want any additional visits for that, if the weekend works better for you, please, you're welcome to sign up for anything there as well. Our counsels will be available.
I just dropped it in the chat, but the answer on commuter parking registration fee, it's $80 for the full academic year for commuter students.
Great. Okay. Thank you. No other questions now. Great questions, everyone. Thank you. But anything else anyone wants to add? Can't think of anything now. Oh, great. Thank you. Everyone's contact information now is in the chat box too. But yeah, once again, so I just want to mention, obviously May 1st is a pretty exciting day, as we know, coming up this weekend. We're here with any questions that you might have, but please, if you do need that extension, I put in my information if you want to contact me directly, or who your admissions advisor, admissions counselor is. Please let them know that you might want to be added to the extension list. We'll do that for you if you need a little bit more time. It's no problem at all, and we do quite a bit of them. So we know it's a lot. You're kind of getting hit from all angles right now, especially as it's crunch time. So we're here just to make it easier for you. And would love, of course, anyone who hasn't deposited yet, we really hope that today helped maybe make your decision to push you to make that deposit this weekend or as soon as you can. We'd love to have you join us for sure. So with that being said, I think pretty much we're ready to wrap it up and almost right on time. So you will get this sent to you also if you want to kind of watch it over again, and look out for additional events that we'll be hosting too, some of the virtual things for the students, like I mentioned, the series for them to walk through the whole portal system and all that, which is very helpful. It can get confusing. There's a lot of different steps to things, but it's just kind of, there's just so much different areas to go in. But that welcome portal is really the best, where you can find the most information that you will need for sure. Really, pretty much any question that you might have can be answered in there. So, but we really appreciate everyone joining us tonight. Thank you for taking the time. And we certainly hope to see you all in the fall, and hope you have a good evening.